Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. My name is Nick Marro with Occupied Fantasy. You could find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. As always, I'm here to help you break down today's NBA DFS slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We get a nice five-game slate tonight. Should be pretty easy to get through. Most teams not on back-to-back, so we do have the injury reports. If you haven't already, please like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. That helps us get more free content like this out to you on a regular basis. Additionally, if you're not already a member of Occupy Fantasy, check the links in the description below. As a member, you get access to the model you see here with ownership percentages, FanDuel and DK value ratings, OF index as well. We have a single lineup builder, multi lineup builder, private Discord server where you could ask your questions to seasoned DFS pros. There's also a 30-minute window leading up to each slate's lock where you can ask slate and lineup specific questions. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Again, like I mentioned, I'm going to refresh the model here. We got a five-game slate tonight. Should be pretty easy to get through. There are a couple teams on back-to-backs, but other than that last game at 10 o'clock, we do have all the injury reports. Five-game slate, obviously, ownership's going to be a bit more concentrated than usual, so that's something to keep in mind. I like to slowly build lineups on both sites as I kind of talk through things, so expect me to do that here. I know we got viewers that like FanDuel and DraftKings, so I will not leave anybody out. So let's get into this. First game on the slate, we have the Boston Celtics at the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are 8.5-point favorites at home, so you might be asking yourself why that is. It's because Jaylen Brown's out tonight, Marcus Smart's still out, Jason Tatum is listed as doubtful, Robert Williams is questionable, Grant Williams is questionable, and then they have Brogdon listed as probable. So this is a banged-up Boston Celtics squad. Obviously, they're going to try to get some rest in here. With Tatum out, pretty much any other starter is going to see a massive boost in usage. They're already seeing a boost in usage with Jaylen Brown out. We've seen Derek White going off these last few games. He's been as hot as pretty much anyone in the NBA when it comes to his shots falling. I'm going to go ahead and pencil him in right now. Honestly, I would not have a problem playing both him and Malcolm Brogdon. Some of you guys I know like those revenge narratives. Not something I usually buy into, but yeah, this is Brogdon's former team if you're deciding between the two. But that being said, I mean, White's been outstanding. Since it's only a five-game slate, we'll take a quick look at his game log here. And I'm not saying to ever go off game logs, but you can kind of see at least what the type of form a player's in. But yeah, these are big scores for Derek White. I mean, he's pushing 40 fantasy points. We saw him have that 60-point game the other day over the weekend. I mean, he's been outstanding. With Tatum out, he's going to see even more usage than usual. So we're seeing him very popular over on FanDuel at near 50%, near 40% over on DK. He's priced up around 7K though, so if we're talking point per dollar, I am comfortable saying Brogdon's probably the better slash safer option, but just given White's current form, he's really tough for me to want to get away from. So I like Brogdon here. I like White. Those are kind of the two priorities. Sam Hauser, very, very scoring dependent, but you're getting him at a bit of a discount, so I don't mind him as a small forward. Peyton Pritchard, the disgruntled Celtic. I don't know why this kid keeps complaining. He wanted to get traded at the deadline. He thinks he should be seeing more minutes. Personally, I don't really see it for him. I mean, he's a decent guard, but there's a lot better guards throughout the league in the league. Yeah, I'm tripping over my words here just to get to the point. Pritchard, okay play tonight. Not something I'm really rushing to get to. Grant and Robert Williams are both questionable. If either are in, I think they're fine. If Robert Williams is out, obviously that's a big boost to Al Horford. If both of those guys are out, don't be shocked to see maybe Mike Muscala slide into the starting lineup. It was funny, right before the trade deadline last week, we saw Blake Griffin going off against Joel Embiid. And I think the Celtics front office said, hey, I don't know that we can rely on Blake to shoot threes like this, but obviously Embiid doesn't like to defend the perimeter. So if we're matching up with the 76ers, who can be Blake Griffin in 2023 but do it better? And that is Mike Muscala. He's a near 40% three-point rate, one of the better rates for a big. So I would like him a lot here if he does slide into the starting lineup, and he's drawing pretty much no ownership, even with all these other Celtics out. So I know I'm spending a lot of time on Boston right now, but that's pretty much where you're going to have to start your builds tonight. There's some other value spots throughout the slate, but nothing this appealing. Obviously, as I've mentioned before, the two top usage plays for the Celtics are out this evening. So guys like White, Brogdon, and then Hauser as a secondary play. Williams, if they're in, look good. And then at Horford, if Robert Williams is out. Horford's been pretty inconsistent all season, so even if he starts next to Robert Williams, I don't know that I'd be rushing to get to him. Like I said, the guards are the easiest to trust. That's White and Brogdon. And then Grant Williams, if he's healthy and he starts, I would like him here. He's come out today and said he wants a 20 million contract. He wants that Keldon Johnson money. I don't know if he said it in so few words, but yeah, to me, I don't know that he deserves that, but he's going to have a good chance to prove that tonight here with the top usage plays out for Boston. So enough about them. I definitely think you want to start your builds with them, though. I'm going to go ahead and also add Brogdon. I mean, maybe I don't know. It feels a little bit counterintuitive to go ahead and drop in two of these Boston guards, but I mean Brogdon hasn't been great, but tonight he's going to be relied on heavily. And maybe if you don't want to go to the two guards, you could go to someone like Hauser. But like I mentioned before, he's very, very scoring dependent. But yeah, until we get more value, I think we need some of these Boston pieces. But that's enough about them. Let's move over to the Milwaukee Bucks. We got Giannis listed as probable, Pat Connaughton probable, Jay Crowder is out. They're reconditioning him. He's been out all season for the Suns. They obviously just traded for him. And then Bobby Portis is out as well. So with Portis out, we've seen a bit of a boost to Brook Lopez. Chris Middleton still likely to come off the bench. A little bit cheap. If you ever see him slide into that starting lineup, he's going to be an excellent play. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. As far as Giannis goes, on this limited 5-game slate, I do think he's probably the highest upside play on the board. With Tatum and Brown out, I don't know how competitive this game is going to be. Obviously, the Celtics are a deep team. They have a deep bench. So it wouldn't shock me to see a close game here. But that being said, I mean, if Williams and Horford are in, it's really not much of a different matchup for Giannis. It's not like Tatum and Brown are on him all that often. I mean, we do see them try to defend him at times, but with Marcus Smart out, that is a boost for Giannis. But all that being said, I mean, he's Giannis. Like, he's kind of matchup proof. It really doesn't matter. So yeah, if you can afford him at 12.7 on DK, obviously a massive price tag, but I think part of that is just a reflection of the size of the slate. Like, they tend to price up the expensive guys just a little bit more when there's only 5 games, so they're a little bit more difficult to get to. At 12K flat on FanDuel, I think he's fine over there as well. So I like Giannis. I wouldn't call him a top priority. And then Drew looks good on both sides. He's reasonably priced, 7,600 on DK, 75 on FanDuel. I already touched on Brook Lopez quickly. He's seen a little bit of a boost with Portis out. So yeah, the Bucks all look fine here. Kind of secondary options like Connaughton, Allen, maybe even Joe Ingles is like a last man, and nothing I'm excited about really. Drew is probably the best play here, point per dollar. Giannis is Giannis though, so I wouldn't fault anyone for playing him. But yeah, pretty healthy team, and I do think we're going to continue to see a little bit of a ramp up in minutes for Middleton, but that may not come until after the All-Star break. So definitely proceed with caution in rostering him today. Moving into the next game on the slate now, we have the Raptors hosting the Magic. The Raptors are 7-point favorites at home. Toronto's going to be without OG Anunoby. Otto Porter Jr. is out. Gary Trent Jr. is questionable. Precious Achiuwa also questionable. So it sounds like we'll have some depth, or we'll have some value in this front court, but we got to remember they did just trade for Jakob Poeltl, so he's going to be starting at center. Let me take a quick look at what he's been getting for minutes. I know his first game with them, he only played like 15, 16. Wasn't sure how the second one went. Yeah, they got him up to 25. So I don't know that he's going to get over 30 minutes here. I would feel better about him if Precious is out tonight. Obviously, Achua has been seeing solid center minutes for the Raptors. But yeah, I don't mind Podol as things stand. But with OG out, obviously that's a boost to the other Toronto starters. We've seen some big games out of Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam. Scotty Barnes has been a little bit inconsistent, but he sees a boost with OG out as well. And then if Trent's out, all those guys I just mentioned are going to see a considerable boost. So there is a lot to like here. I mean, Chris Boucher is that boomer bust kind of tournament only play. That being said, he's priced up, especially on FanDuel. I'm not sure I get to him at all today. Just taking a look at ownership. I mean, Van Fleet's getting some love on FanDuel where he's sub 9K. Scotty Barnes at a thin small forward position. No surprise there, floating around that mid 7K price tag. I don't mind him at all. And then, yeah, Siakam sub 10K. I think on a short slate, that's very appealing. So not the best matchup against Orlando. They've actually been half decent defensively, only 221.5 point total here. But if Trent's out, they're all going to look a little bit better. If Achua's out, they're all going to look a little bit better. And they already look decent with OG out of the lineup. So Toronto, not a bad spot to look. Nothing I'm really forcing or prioritizing, but they are a solid spot to consider. Over on the Orlando side, we have Cole Anthony questionable. They did acquire Goga Batadze. He's out. He's not with the team yet. RJ Hampton's out as well. So the big news here is Cole Anthony. If he's out, we could go back to Jalen Suggs as a value play. I don't think he was very good last night. I think he did half decent. I remember I had him in and then pivoted off him. I forget for who, but it's worth taking a look because with Cole Anthony out, Suggs is probably the biggest beneficiary. He's going to see the most upside off the bench. But yeah, I mean, he only went for 8 fantasy points, so maybe that's good. I pivoted off of him. But if you see Suggs slide into the starting lineup, which he did not yesterday, I would feel better about going to him for value. At 4,800 on FanDuel, he's tougher to stomach, but you're getting him sub 4K over on DK. So I would like him over there. Again, that's only if Cole Anthony is out. As things stand, Banchero, Carter Jr., Fultz, Franz Wagner all look fine. Those are the 4 plays I'd really be considering here. All kind of price where they should be on both sites. On a bigger slate, I wouldn't even give them much thought, but we only have 5 games to choose from here, so I think all these guys are in play at reasonable ownership. You see, nothing on this Orlando Magic team is drawing over 20% ownership on either site, so just kind of from a game theory angle, getting some leverage on the field, this could be a good spot to go if this does turn into a competitive game. But yeah, I like Banchero. He's probably my favorite of the bunch. Fultz looks fine. Obviously, a little bit of a boost with Cole Anthony out. But I would be willing to go back to the well on Slugs where he burned so many people yesterday. If Cole Anthony's out, he could be a big value play on a short slate with a lot of upside. Moving into this 9 o'clock window now, we have the Kings at the Suns. The Suns are 2.5 point favorites at home. Still no Kevin Durant for Phoenix. Campaign's out. Landry Shamet is out as well. And then, yeah, we'll start with Phoenix here. So Devin Booker, he's seen his minutes slowly creeping up. He's fine as a tournament play, and not something I'd be prioritizing. He's getting close to his full run, but still not his full run, and that's enough to keep me off him around 9K. But again, on a short slate against this Kings team, his upside is appealing. So he looks fine. DeAndre Ayton looks solid. Chris Paul, a little bit expensive with Booker back in the lineup, but I don't mind him. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but on a short slate, some of these plays you normally wouldn't be all that interested in, they do become more appealing because we have fewer options. So if Josh Okogie gets to start at the wing again, I'd have some interest in him. He's had some really big games lately. His prices come up, but not a ton. 4,600 on DK is very appealing to me. You see him as the most popular Sun over on FanDuel, drawing 17% there, 16 on DK, excuse me. So Okogie looks fine. Definitely would want him to be starting, though, for me to go there. So Phoenix, pretty healthy, other than the fact that they traded away Cam Johnson and Bridges, and they're waiting for KD to come back. But all that happened right as Devin Booker got healthy. So we're not seeing a ton of value here like we maybe wanted. The one play, like I mentioned, is Josh Okogie, who has been consistently exceeding value at his price point. Over on the Kings side of things, we've got Malik Monk out. KZ Opelka is out as well. So no major injury news here. The price is down on Sabonis. He's now finally below 10K on both sites. I like him. Drawing about 20% ownership. I think that's reasonable. De'Aaron Fox looks fine. He's kind of priced up, 91 on DK, 93 over on FanDuel, but he's a solid play. Kevin Huerter, very scoring dependent, high ceiling, low floor, good tournament play. Wouldn't go there in cash. Harrison Barnes, kind of a last man inside, kind of a high floor, low ceiling. Maybe the opposite of Huerter. If you want to build kind of a safer lineup, he's probably the way to go there at forward. But yeah, I don't mind Keegan Murray as kind of a punt. And with Malik Monk out, maybe we see Terrence Davis get extended run here. He's had some big games as a value play. So on a limited slate, I actually do like Davis a lot. It seems the field is kind of following me in that. He's drawing near 20% ownership on both sides. So he's someone I consider. Not something you necessarily need to force in, but I do think with Monk out, he's going to see the biggest boost. So yeah, decent spot there. And then we're moving into the last game on the slate now between the two teams that are on back-to-back. So this is a bit annoying. We got Golden States. Or wait, no, there's 2 more games. Am I going crazy? I'm looking at Wizards Trailblazers. For whatever reason, the NBA's official injury report is out, and they didn't list the Clippers. So it looks like there's only 1 game. So I know I sound crazy, but I blame the NBA. Anyway, we can move into this next game. We do have 2 more. The Warriors at the Clippers. The Clippers are 8.5-point favorites at home. Golden State did play last night. Still no Steph Curry. The rest of the team should be healthy. All that being said, it is a back-to-back. Don't be surprised if we see someone like Clay, Wiggins, Draymond pulled here. If any of them are, I think Dante DiVincenzo is going to become extremely interesting. I expect he'd slide into the starting lineup for any of those guys. Jordan Poole's going to look good regardless. He was kind of a dud last night. And he's priced up now. So I don't think people are going to want to rush to get to him there, but it is a great matchup. I mean, the Clippers are good defensively, but they have been playing a little bit quicker than expected this season. So I like Poole here on both sides. He feels a little bit under owned, but keep an eye on this back-to-back situation. Steve Kerr has been known to rest a few guys in similar spots. Obviously, this is an important game. This should be a competitive game. But all that being said, I mean, we're seeing a near 9-point spread here, and to me, that tells me maybe we do see someone rested. But yeah, like I mentioned, Poole's probably the core play. At the price, it feels kind of weird calling him that. But yeah, with Curry out, he obviously sees a big boost. What else? Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like I said, DiVincenzo, I'm hoping someone's ruled out, whether it be Wiggins, Clay, or Dre, to get to Dante aggressively. But as things stand, they're all kind of priced where they should be if this team is healthy, other than Curry. So no major priorities. I do like Poole though, especially as he burned a bunch of people last night. Over on the Clippers side of things, I believe they're on a back-to-back as well. Sounds like Kawhi could go though. So if Kawhi's in, obviously he's playable. If he's out, Paul George sees a nice boost at 8,300 on FanDuel. He's a borderline lock for me over there. And if Kawhi's out, we're also going to be able to look to guys like Norm Powell, Marcus Morris. Terrence Mann's been really solid as the point guard there. They did trade for Mason Plumlee, which kind of takes Zubac out of tournament consideration for me. Um, yeah, I just don't know how those minutes are going to shake out moving forward, but I do think they want Plumlee to see the bulk of them. So yeah, wait on this news. If Ty Lue decides to rest Kawhi, then we could get to a lot of Paul George. But as things stand, they're all kind of priced where they should be. I think Kawhi's fine if he's in. Morris Powell, all decent options, as is Terrence Mann. Not really interested in the centers though. So another team, they did just get deeper, added Bones Highland, Eric Gordon, but yeah, all that being said, you're still really looking at their big two of George and Kawhi, and if Kawhi's out, Paul George is the guy I'm going to be getting a lot of. All right, so now we're moving into the final game on the slate. We have the Wizards at the Trailblazers. The Wizards are 3.5-point underdogs on the road. We're looking at a 236-point game total here. I'll start with Portland. No injury report. Dame was on fire last night. I think he plays tonight. He's not usually the type of player to sit on a back-to-back. Drawing a lot of ownership on both sides, but rightfully so. I mean, you could pay up for Giannis, but you're getting a nice discount on Dame in a better matchup. So Lillard looks excellent here. If you can afford him, I'm going to go ahead and drop him into my lineups. Just I consider him a priority, especially on FanDuel. I mean, on DK, where there's only like a 1K difference between him and Giannis, I could certainly see making that pivot more often over there. But for me, I like Dame a lot right now. He's been on fire. I'm going to continue to ride that wave. And if you can't afford Dame in lineups without Lillard, I do like Anthony Simons as a pivot. If Dame's struggling and this game is close, it probably means someone like Simons is going off. Very high ceiling, but a low floor. Another scoring dependent guard. Jeremy Grant missed last night. I think he's going to be back. If he is in, he's solid. If he's out, that means Drew Eubanks sees a nice boost. We've already been going to Eubanks for value with Nurkic out, but he hasn't been great. But we have seen in those games where Grant is out as well that he does have a very high ceiling. They acquired Cam Reddish and Matisse Thybulle as wings. It kind of tells us that the Blazers really don't like Nasir Little all that much, which is unfortunate. I really did like him coming out of college. Pulling up Tyball's game log here, he's coming off a massive game. I think if he starts, he's in play his value just because it is such a short slate. But seeing him near 30% ownership, that's overowned to me. So I won't be rushing to Tyball, even if he starts. In cash games, you probably have to use him just because he's so cheap. But in large field tournaments, that's the type of chalk that I usually like to get away from. Trenton Wofford off the bench. I mean, if we see Eubanks get in foul trouble, he'd be the one to benefit. But yeah, it's really Dame for me here, who I love. And then Simons looks fine. Grant's good if he's in. Tyball's going to be super chalky, but we're lacking value, so he's kind of a necessary evil. And then Drew Eubanks looks okay with Grant in. He looks great with Grant out. So a lot to like here for Portland. Moving over to the Washington side, Kuzma was out last night. I think he'll be back today, but that's just speculative. If he's out again, we could go back to Porzingis and Beal. If Kuzma's in, I like him on FanDuel at 7,700. You see that reflected in the ownership. Porzingis is only 9,100 over there as well, so it's easier to get to these Wizards on FanDuel, except for Bradley Beal, who's 600 cheaper over on DK. So this always goes back to what I say, why I like to play two sites. You kind of pick your spots. You could load up on Beal on DK, not feel too bad about completely fading him on FanDuel. But yeah, I like Daniel Gafford here as well. Solid center value. Probably doesn't draw much ownership. Monte Morris has been really solid lately, but I would want to see one of that big three rest. So, like I said, Kuzma was out yesterday. It wouldn't shock me if he's back and maybe Porzingis and or Beal sit. So just keep an eye on that situation. Obviously, as things stand, all three of them look okay, assuming they're healthy. But if one is out, the other two become excellent plays. And if two of the three is out, the one that's left becomes pretty much a lock slash priority. So a situation we definitely have to keep an eye on. If one of those guys is out, I can see getting to some Denny Avila. But other than that, really nothing we have to force. So yeah, that's the 5 game slate in a nutshell. I know I didn't do much building today. There's not a ton of spots I love right now, but that's just kind of where we're at. Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon both look great for Boston. No surprises there. Damian Lillard, my favorite pay up. Matisse Thybulle, that piece of value you're probably going to have to swallow here, even though I think it's kind of point chasey. If Grant comes back, I'm even less likely to want to get the Tybal. I know he's popular. I know he projects well. It's just really a tough play to get excited about. Keep an eye on that Celtics game. Luckily, it's the first game on the slate. If one of the Williamses is ruled out, we could see additional value opening up in that front court. But just remember, both Tatum and Brown are out tonight. So, yeah, here's the model. I mean, like I said, there's nothing I'm really rushing to get to right now. I do hope we get some more news throughout the day. I'll also say this on these short slates. I know people like to ask about game stacking on larger slates, and we usually say no, it's not a good idea. On these shorter slates where you only have like 3 to 5 games, there is some merit to it. If you could happen to land on the game that goes to overtime or even double overtime, then you're going to be in excellent shape. And it's tough to get different on these shorter slates. So if you're playing a bunch of lineups, maybe throw in a few game stacks, things like that. Normally not a strategy I'm employing, but tonight it does make some sense. Once again, my name is Nick Marro with Occupy Fantasy. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, sign up to Occupy using the links in the description below. Let's have some fun tonight, everyone, and make some money. Good luck and take care.